the voice from its source, the sound from its image. We have a series of voices and sounds, which we hear separately. In a separate move, we see the scene, we see the emanate. And well, this is the procedure she most effectively uses in both Mother's Day and in life cards. So one can sort of pit the two things, the two strategies. One by the side of the other. We can, with Smadar's work, we get a soundless scene pitting against the imageless voice. And the object that emerges is the very cut between the two. So in this disconnection, each part acquires like a dreamlike quality. They're like oneiric. There's something like unreal about them. We are submerged into the question of what is real. How do we construct this real? And I will refer briefly to Merleau-Ponty. At a certain point in the complex argument of the phenomenology of perception, he poses the phenomenon, as he says, la chose intersensorielle, the intersensorial thing. So it always has to be a combination of several senses. I just quote one sentence. If a phenomenon offers itself only to one of my senses, it turns into a phantom. And it will come close to real existence only if it is capable of speaking to my other senses. So there's a sort of what he described as this simple mechanism of phantomatization. How you turn reality into a phantom, very simply, you deprive the image of the sound of the image, and the cut off half will be endowed with a sort of phantom-like dimension. It will become surreal or oneiric in some sense, as if the missing half lent its power to the present one. Where coordination fails, where the seen and the heard don't match, a phantom appears. And phenomenon, on the other hand, is the coincidence, the encounter of the two, the seen and the heard, that which shows itself and that what is said and heard. So if one part is missing, phenomenology risks to turn into phantomology. But this match is never a coincidence. The two parts never quite fit. There is always a crack. There's like a missed encounter. And by this connection, one actually points to the very crack which is at stake. Sort of forget about this tiny crack by habit. And the moment you disconnect it, you put it side by side. The crack becomes the object. So there is not simply that the coincidence makes the real of the intersensory thing, but rather one becomes aware of the real only with the crack, with the non-coincidence. And the crack becomes the object. And one can see, one can hear how this crack is immediately flooded with social meanings and ramifications. It becomes gripping. So, in Mother's Day, the social and the geographical divide is pitted against and as if transposed into the divide between the image and the voice. We have like two phantoms confronting each other, evoking the social real precisely in their separation, pinpointing at the same time the ruthlessness of this social, political, geographical divide, and at the same time the precarity, contingency of the divide between the image and the voice. So the voices manage to negotiate the crack in some sense, but at the same time they make it gaping. One reaches the other, one reaches the mother, one reaches the child, with the voice over distance, and imposed distance itself is made palpable in its construction through this disconnection. We never see the source of the voices. These are completely acousmatic voices. And the point is not to try to pin them down to their source, but precisely to leave them in this acousmatic space they create. Voices hang in the air, literally. They're literally suspended. So I can add to this another image. The voice is like the umbilical cord which connects the mother and the child. And as you heard, its first function in life is to remedy this cut. And one of the very famous books on the voice was written by French psychiatrist Denis Vasse in 1972, and it's called L'ombilique et la voix, the umbilical cord and the voice. So you can see the structural connection between the two. The voice intervenes at the point of the severed physical tie. It takes relay from the severed umbilical cord. It is the immaterial umbilical cord which steps in literally in this connection. So in Mother's Day, we are precisely faced with this functional device, the voice of the umbilical, a number of umbilical cords, without seeing the bodies where they connect, the mothers and the children. But the voices themselves, in this strange umbilical cord suspension, themselves acquire a body of their own, the body of this disconnection. And this is very much a scene of the voices and the names. It's sort of unexpected and hugely transposed avatar of Romeo and Juliet question I was discussing at the beginning. So you have again this problem of pinpointing the addressee with the name, to reach her through the voice as the stuff of love, to testify to one's love with one's own voice, to cross the distance between names by the voice. And one is classified on the wrong side of the social divide by one's name, and one tries to counteract this in one's voice. So we have two utterly opposed strategies. One looks at the physiological source of the voice and tries to get to it at the closest quarters possible. To look inside at one count, against only the crack, the fissure, the excess of this body over itself. And in the other case, one leaves out completely the source of the voice. One takes the voice in separation, extricated from the body, no physiology. What appears that the voice is the sheer fabric of the social, the navel of the socialism. The voice is the wound of the social. And the navel is precisely the image, the sign of both connection to the mother, and sort of separation. These are two things at the same time. So one gets the ghost of the social, one gets the ghost of the voice to endow with the social body, the heavily invested space of connection and disconnection in one. One looks at the source of the social body, the navel of the social body, and what both instances have in common is this in very, very different perspectives, coming from completely different quarters, is the question of how to approach the voice as the borderline. The borderline of the physical body, and the massive borderline of the social body. There's a massive border dividing the social space, which is at stake, which is negotiated by the voice. And this is the point I've been trying to come to by various ways throughout various examples. How to think of the voice as the embodiment of the border, this cut and tie at the same time, which requires a sort of new theory and a new topology. This is what I've been trying to do with my voice. Thank you. Yes, whatever.
To speak with Smadar and okay. Maybe we can just each give the chance to get a drink.